Is there a God song you like? God bless us all.
Well, the intro would be like, I guess whatever this podcast name is.
Panda's Basement.
Panda's Basement.
Wait, you had another name. Wait, I forgot.
I had one, but I don't think it suits. I think it's
Aligned Action.
Yeah. But it's like, I think that's something different. I'm not totally attached to that name. It captures more the essence of what I wanted to do.
The goal.
But
I would say it's good. Like right now, I feel like the lack is just a lack of thought, like intelligent conversation, intelligent perspectives on things, on certain matters.
Okay.
And it's like I feel like people are like we have to build the Titanic, the non-sinking Titanic.
We have to build the lifeboats because there wasn't enough
slowly.
lifeboats.
There wasn't enough lifeboats. So it's like a slow. I don't know exactly. I guess I don't know the answer, but I had this kind of more feeling that if we want to change the way
Life preserver or lifeboat, like
lifeboat,
because I don't like the lifeboat. It's like
Lifeboat Podcast.
I don't know. We're talking about life, and we're all on a boat together.
Yeah, we're all on a ship. Like we do, and I feel like that's the kind of analogy that I think Eric Dubé put out. Like it's like we all arrive and we're on a boat, but nobody knows how we got here. Like we don't know if the Titanic, we were on Titanic sank, but it's like we're the people on lifeboats, and here we are, and we have each other, and now what? Like why are we just know that we're here, and how exactly we got here, we don't know on these boats. What we're supposed to really do.
And it's making me think of like Life of Pi. I haven't read the book, but I watched the movie.
Yes, I read the book. I read the book after someone telling me it was her favorite book, so I put my expectations way high, and I did not think that book was so great.
No,
but it was fine overall. Like I do like the twist at the end of it of what was real, what was not real.
Well, that's essentially what I feel like life is in general. Like it's a big question. What is real?
Oh, reality. What is reality? My friend's song says something. Reality is a vision. Reality is I forget, but what is it? What your experience? Your reality is your senses interpretation. You interpreting stimulation from your senses in general, from your nose, all your sense doors, as Vipassana Goenkaji says. You.
All right, so for now, I guess it's the lifeboat or the boat of life.
The boat of life. Row. Oh, so our song should be row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
I do love that song.
Perfect. Actually, I like this intro. This works.
Because it's also nice and short. I like that it's a short intro because I don't like when people play like all time long songs for the 50th time.
And what a perfect way to start the podcast with the most important question: what is God?
Is it important to be like, does God exist? Or like, so can we argue why should we talk about?
I think it's more because does God exist is like very narrow question, and it has a lot of built-in assumptions, right? Like we haven't even defined what God really is.
Yeah. Okay.
Some people have
if
a
there's a
different
God, what is there? If there was a God, what is the definition of God?
Yeah, I think we're exploring what God is.
God is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like this because I have thought about this a lot, and I don't know the answer. I don't know who can know or where I can find the answer definitively. But I'd like to. I think it's a great topic to discuss. Like, what is God? What is God?
Yeah, and I guess for me, I think of the creator. I prefer that word because it's like the thing that existed before all of this, the thing that made all of this, and I don't know what that is. And I've had my own grievances with the idea of a benevolent God that is aware of what's going on. And I guess I'll share my general philosophy on looking at the world as like a fractal, right? Like this spectrum of this pattern that repeats. And so my analogy is the body is like, I'm God, okay? I know that's blasphemous for some people, but hear me out. If I'm God, then the cells of my body are the humans.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so can I talk directly to the cells? I probably could. Do they understand me? Probably not. How I treat myself directly affects the cells of my body. And if the cells have a grievance, they communicate to me through pain, pleasure, or whatever sensations, you know? And so the way I see it, when people try to talk to God, I wonder if we're really kind of talking to ourselves in hopes that we're able to talk to something far greater. But when I think of the overall scope of the world and wars and terrible things happening to people, and I go, how come when some people pray, their prayers get answered, and when others, they don't? Those innocent people deserve to have what happened to them? And did those terrible people deserve to have a life of luxury? You know what I mean? Where they don't suffer consequences of their actions. And so I come back to, maybe God is so far removed from us, still connected, like I said, the cells of our body, but maybe God doesn't have it all figured out. Maybe God doesn't treat itself well. Like, I think of, if I'm the God of my body, what I eat, what I do to myself.
Right. It's like my body, my heart beats. I don't know that my heart is beating. Like, I don't control that. It's just kind of on autopilot. A lot of me is on autopilot. And so you feel like maybe God has created this. It's kind of self-sustaining, self-functional, and then God's kind of paying attention at sometimes, to some parts only, or doing godly stuff that's not the creation part of the world or his existence.
Maybe God is actually having his or her own life outside of what we're aware of. And maybe when a tsunami or something happens, that's something God has done, but isn't aware of the effect it has on us.
I think that's why people search, like, there's the idea of the natural law, seeking kind of what, like, this world, this realm I've heard of is kind of cause and consequence, that there are natural laws, like what goes up comes down. I don't know if that's one, but it's like people have tried to observe what are those fundamental truths. If you put your hand in fire, you're pretty much going to burn. But then you hear about stories somewhere that people can walk on those fiery cold things, and they're good. I don't know, but I think, is it that maybe God created it and was like, this place has all the rules. It has cause and consequence, so you can pick your adventure kind of thing, and stuff will happen as per the rules of this game. You see what I mean? Like, it's like, so we try to, like, in some way, and that people have also said, like, the truth is also God. Like, God and the truth
are the same.
They say it can be same. So if something, whatever is God, like God is the truth, or whatever is always and always is, the truth always stands kind of idea. They speak like this.
I feel like that's an abstract way of, like, personifying the truth, but, like, to me, there's a bit of this, feels like a cop out. Like, well, it is what it is. Okay. And what I find interesting is, I feel like we're trying to manipulate God. We're trying to appease it. We're trying to communicate to it in a way that has it fulfill our desires. But if God just is, then God's going to do what God does outside of my control, just like the cells. There's a limitation of, there's a certain function that all the cells in my body have, but they don't really control so much what my consciousness is able to say. Well, I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to move it this way. I'm going to paint with it. And perhaps the cells aren't even aware of what they're doing. They're just kind of going with the flow of what me as the God of this creation, my body, has done. But, like, the cells don't necessarily dictate what I do, but there is limits. Like,
do the cells dictate their own lives? I feel like they're programmed. They have a certain
there's a function.
They're programmed with your life force, like, programmed to function and repeat and do as they're.
I would probably even I would think of the body more as nature then. And so nature has a function, the trees and the animals and all that. And they kind of just serve an overall purpose, and they do what they can, and they respond, right? So something happens in nature, nature responds. Oh, my analogy for humans is like we are the immune system. Oh. We are capable of responding in a way that says, oh, there's a pathogen entering here. Oh, we're going to make sure that this place stays healthy. And, you know, I've heard some saying, like, we're the keepers of the garden, you know?
Oh. We're doing some bad gardening right now.
Yeah.
I might say.
We are an autoimmune disease right now.
But I really feel we don't get the true picture of what's going on in the world, because the world is really big. There's so much space. Like, Canada's huge. I don't know half of it. I don't see half of it.
I know.
We are really populating so little of it. Are we really damaging so much of it? I don't know. Because I don't know. I haven't been to most of it. But I see some photos once in a while. It gives me an idea. It paints me a picture that, whatever we're doing out in the tar sands in Alberta. No, is it Alberta? Yeah, Fort McMurray. I feel it's terrible. Like, but I really don't know the life cycle of that. I've just seen pictures. I've heard things. I don't know. Is it overall terrible? I believe it is. I mean, that's my belief up till now.
Well, they're definitely they're stripping the life out of that ecosystem. So where there used to be a forest and nature, they've essentially dug it out and said, we're mining for minerals. We're trying to squeeze out as much oil from the ground as possible.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like we are part of the ecosystem, right? If it's who is it for? It's for everyone, right? And are we ever going to kill them all? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, I don't think we have. I think that's the hubris of humanity, is thinking that we could destroy it all. Yeah, I think
we'll be the first. We're not the most tolerant species in terms of things. We'll be out first. I feel like we'll be the ones.
Nature will persist.
I feel like we'll kill ourselves off, but maybe not. I don't think we'll kill a lot of others off.
Yeah. Well, I think we have killed things off, but I don't think we can eradicate things.
Yeah,
I think that's.
I don't know. I don't really much believe a lot of the extinction stories either.
Because it's like they're trying to say that they've surveyed the whole planet,
entire
and
planet.
They've seen every species. And
yeah,
like, we discovered a new species. Well, it's new to you because you've just
never
been
there. You didn't know, and then what? You didn't ask everybody. What all did you? Could you poll everybody? What all those species in every freaking land in the whole world? Like, it's a lot of just. And so,
even I always come back to this reference that the panda used to be considered a mythical creature. People are like, what are you, this black and white bear? You must be crazy. And then one day they caught one, and you're like, well, I guess it's true. It does exist. And who knows? Like, I'm open to the idea of dragons or something existing.
I was just watching that video about dragons, and I think there's the real, like, it really is weird that they exist in a lot of mythology, kind of country stories, folks, and then they're not real.
Yeah.
Like, even they're in the Chinese zodiac, every animal is real, but the dragon. Like, it's in a lot of the family crest. Like, why? Stories, the dragon, the golden fleece. Like, there's a lot. Why do people love dragons? My daughter loves dragons. Why are we attracted to these things if they're so fake and not real?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a thing. Like, I always wonder about that. Like, when we why do we tolerate certain kind of imaginary things and not others? Like gnomes, trolls, dragons. It's like a never-ending acceptance, right? But why? They're crazy. If you don't see it, why do you believe in it? Why you even? Isn't it just a waste of your time to think of these things? But we like it. We do.
Something about it, and maybe it's like a frequency thing that maybe we're not adjusted to see them. Maybe there's these.
Oh yeah, the idea of the frequencies we're on, we can't see it because we can't see the whole light spectrum.
I've heard
maybe dulled out.
Have you heard of we are aware of night vision goggles, right? And apparently, it's green. That's the spectrum we
but
use.
It used to be red at some point.
Yeah, I heard somebody say, I can't verify this, but somebody said their earlier versions of night vision, they used the red spectrum, and they were seeing flying demons and all sorts of weird shit. and they're like, we can't have people seeing this, so let's switch it to another spectrum.
We'll go green.
Let's go green. Maybe that's part of it. I feel like we deviated from the
God.
What is God though?
What is God? God. So God is, I mean, yeah, the people like the word creator, or oftentimes I've heard the source of all things, the truth, and whatever it is, whatever name you want to give the God, what is God responsible for? All the base earth, like whatever we see, like I don't like everything, because where did it come from? Like, it came from what? Like, where? And
I thought of this too, like I'm trying to imagine, like, if I was God, or at least at the highest level that I could imagine, and maybe I just popped into existence and I became aware, and I was like, who am I? Right? And I'm thinking it's just pitch black, there's nothing, but I'm aware. And then I'm like, where did I come from? Why am I here? And then maybe this life we're living is like God trying to figure itself out. And
true, that's a good one, because what you do, like, what am I doing in my life? I'm trying to figure myself out. Like, I'm trying to figure out, and I can create things, and I'm like, oh well, I'll do a bit of that because I seem to be able to do a little bit of that, and then you just do a bit of this and that. Oh, I can do this too. I'm gonna go over there and do that because I can. If you as you grow into your own human body or human self, it is a kind of process of getting to know and discovering yourself. So maybe that's what God is doing. We're just doing the same kind of process as God is doing. But maybe God's a bit more advanced, that he made some motherfucking cool humans.
Or maybe God makes mistakes. That's
or
another
he made
one,
some
actually.
Dumb humans.
That's what I want to challenge, is because, we paint this picture of this pure, benevolent, all-knowing, all-powerful God. But I'm like, so all-knowing and all-powerful, and we allow these atrocities to happen?
But don't you ever think, like, atrocities are not maybe so atrocities? Like, because you don't know what life is after you die. Like, you never, like, I haven't experienced severe, crazy pain. Like, I haven't experienced death. Maybe death is a great thing.
I'm open to that.
Right? Like, what we see, like, somebody, I think it's everybody, like, oh, animals kill each other to eat. But maybe it's not, like, we don't, I mean, I don't like the sight of killing animals, and I don't want to kill an animal for sure. But you see, if I was starving, and it's been like days, and my daughter was near death, and I saw an animal and I had a knife, that moment I'm like, yes, this is good. Like, I will be happy to kill that animal. And I'll be like, it's a gift from God, this opportunity to kill this animal and feed myself and survive. I might see it that way. Like, your perspective, you can really shift your perspective on things so easily. And when you don't know something, like, I don't know what the donkey feels when, or not the donkey, like the cow feels when he dies. I don't like it, and I don't eat meat highly because I just don't like it. But maybe it's not so bad. Maybe they're happy, but like, get me out of this freaking cow suit. I don't know. Maybe they don't even have a thought. I don't know. I look at animals and I feel like they feel stuff and have their thoughts. But maybe I am wrong. I literally can be wrong. So I don't know about if these catastrophes, like these things, like the death, is it so bad? And when I've gone in my own life, when I look back, like, the part I hate about life is when I look back at things that were difficult and what I thought was tough, it doesn't really stick. So I can see how it helped me be a better person. I always say I hate that part of life. Like, I really hate, why can't there just be an easy way to be super smarter, or like better, stronger?
Well, my contestation, if that's not even a word.
Though I understand your counter or your
I'm
argument.
countering God because I feel like there's this inherent wisdom that exists, to do good and to find harmony. Harmony, I think, is the word that I would look for, is that nature typically finds this equilibrium. And when I look at nature, I don't see nature as this constantly fearful, especially in the animal kingdom. They portray, modern science kind of portrays the animal kingdom like they're in this constant state of fear, like eat or be eaten. But when I observe, like, the squirrels and the bunnies, I'm like, a lot of the time they're playing. They'll stop and they're checking. They're like, any predators? No. Okay, continue on. And I wonder if they're a little more equanimous with life and death.
Oh, I think they are.
Where they're like, I want to live, but if I'm going to die, I'm also not terribly upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I get the impression that nature is just trying to thrive and live a life of like enjoying the pleasures of nature. You know, a lot of times they're just sitting, I'll look at a cat and be like, they're just staring off into the distance. I'm like, I wonder what kind of consciousness is going there. Maybe they're not thinking anything. Maybe they're just like, I'm here. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
look at this view. It's
great.
great.
It's
It's beautiful.
Or maybe,
I don't know. Maybe they're thinking.
maybe God needs us. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe it's the other way around. We keep thinking we need God.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe God needs us to experience all of this.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think like God, to know God needs to experience. If you're just one thing, like it's like the play with the balance or the like, kind of the game between the darkness and the light. You can't. If you're just light, you don't know your light unless you play with some dark. Like you don't like exposed to dark. And everything you see is kind of it was a mix of both light and dark. I think the two kind of forces in such a variety of amounts and ways of putting things together. And I think that we are God's information. We're God in I saw that kind of play on the word in the Conversations with God series, and it was like you are little gods in formation, but you're God's information. You inform God of what it is to be God.
I've also heard somebody say, like, when you're looking into the eyes of another, you're looking into the eyes of God. And interesting enough, with most of the creatures, there's eyes, right?
Always.
And I wonder if, like, when the cat is looking out and enjoying the view, if God is tapping into that and being like, "Oh, what a great view!" I actually had this story idea where God is like sitting on the couch watching TV, flipping through the channels, and it's everyone's perspective. And every now and then God's like, "Ooh, I like what this person's doing. Let's stay." And it's
right?
like it's Netflix for God.
Actually, for God, but that's like we love stories. Like we love to see what other people are experiencing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are for God. We're kind of his TV. Like I honestly think that God created us for entertainment or for self. It's kind of like an entertainment thing. Like why do I watch stuff? Because it's engaging. But I learn and I feel like it's almost me doing some of those roles, right? You get attached to certain characters and you almost imagine yourself there, kind of thing. And I cry in some of the movies like it's my freaking brother or something. Like it's not; they're all fake. But I mean, yeah, and it's even light pictures. It's not even real.
And typically, what makes for a great story is a great challenge. Tragedy.
There's no story without the catastrophe of some sort, right? There is basically none, and that's the sad reality.
Speaking of cats.
God looking at us through the cat is like,
You talk about me?
The cat came back.
Yeah.
Hi there, Birdie. The cat named Birdie. Of all things.
Of all things, yeah. Apparently likes to eat birds. I opened the door once and because she has access to the production room. And then and right at the base of the door was just a dead bird. It didn't look like it was it just looked like it was sleeping. And I was like,
clean.
Oh, it's just a nice clean kill. Or maybe she wasn't trying to kill it, but she just kind of did it and was like, it didn't survive. And it's like, I brought you a treat, a gift.
She tried to kill it, I'm pretty sure. My cats are nice. When they get, that's such a program I feel with one of my cats, that you do any kind of like movement that's like a tail moving. Oof, she is on it. It is game on. The programming.
Maybe that's what it all is. It's a big game, like for animals, because like part of their play is to wrestle or to pounce, because they're practicing for when they actually are going to go make the kill. But I also find it strange, like this world we live in kind of forces us to kill, even if we're vegetarian.
I'm killing a carrot. I'm killing tons of things. Like I always joke, if you want me to come back to eating meat, you're gonna have to do some better animals, like a sheep, a cow. Like, these are like, if you kill like a fucking jaguar or shit, like something. Don't kill a jaguar. I love jaguar. I love all cats, but it's like sheep, chicken, like. Oh,
I feel like
animals.
What we done is we learned to domesticate, and so we kind of stuck with the ones that were the easiest to domesticate.
Yes, I
And-
want like the motherfucking badass ones.
Yeah, but
Like,
then
if I'm
there's
gonna
also
eat-
that, because I've heard of, a lot of cultures believe in if you eat the animal, you get the essence of the animal.
I
Which
don't.
there might be something to it, not quite so literal, but I wonder too if like the emotions that animal experiences, for instance, like eating meat from a factory farm, I wonder is very different than eating wild game where if you're a good hunter, that animal didn't even know you came and killed it. And so there's no fear in it.
Yeah, my friend was just telling me that they killed, they got a cow killed, and but the cow had no idea what it was coming, and so she was saying she thinks that there's no fear hormones that were released
Yeah.
in the meat, and she's looking forward to seeing if there's a difference. But
I also think there's this perhaps a misconception of the way we look at history, and we kind of judge other cultures, and we're like, look how primitive they were. They worshipped these animals, and they did this whole ceremony around it, and then they slaughtered it. And it's like, hold on a second. Here's what I'm imagining. We raise this animal in our environment, like say a goat, and it's been providing milk or whatever this whole time, and finally it's reaching kind of an old age, and we're like, you know what? We're going to have a feast. It's had its time, so we're going to celebrate it. Why? Because it is offering unwillingly necessarily, but like we're going to give it a party. So this animal's like, whoa, this whole thing's for me. And it's just like everyone's like, yeah.
Dancing.
And then all of a sudden, just one slit, it doesn't know what's happening. And it's just like, oh, I guess I'm dying now. And then boom. And perhaps it's not that we're worshiping the animal as God, but we're paying respect and gratitude to it and trying to send it with like a wonderful send off to the next afterlife as we also now devour the material part of it. Because once it's dead, it's not there. The essence of the animal is kind of gone, right?
I really think it is a beautiful way to do that, because it's also like raising an animal it eats, like you could grow plants versus feed it the grass and stuff like that. It's expensive to raise an animal, overgrow just plants and eat that food. So your community kind of sacrificed to make this animal live. In general, you took the effort to find him food to feed the animal, fatten the animal, whatever. So it's like you sacrifice to grow the animal, I guess, in some ways. You work to get it, and now you're celebrating it and thanking it, I think. And yeah, I think it's kind of nicer too. And I feel like you appreciate more when it's you've been around it. You appreciate the work. You know what went into that animal. And yeah, I just feel like it's so better. It's so much a better way to kill an animal and consume the meat than the way we do it. I was so stupid as a child. I literally thought they just like made it out of freaking dirt and sand and clay in the in the back of the grocery store. Like, I don't know how I was that dumb, but
hey, if you're not educated, you're gonna make up stories.
you just make it make sense. Somehow that made sense to me. That the grocery store, they just somehow in the back made all this stuff and packaged it, and it showed up. That's how it just happened. I had no idea that they were. Even though I knew that song, like some of these songs, like about the farm, old McDonald's and stuff, I knew stuff about. But it's like it's so ridiculous how I didn't put it together until I was in India, like at 4 or 5, and 5, I think 6 or 5.5, and I saw them kill the chicken, and I was like, oh my god, like that's what happened.
And I think how we get to that state of ignorance is this disconnect that we've reached now, where like us here in Canada, like we just kind of go to like you go to the grocery store, there's a package of meat, and you're like there's no connection to where it came from or how it was made. And whereas like most other cultures, it's like you teach your kids, all right, we're gonna go grab a chicken in the back and we're having dinner tonight. It's like, whoa. And like we consider that tragic or barbaric, but it's like, no, but that's what it takes to get onto our table. But
you probably had to feed the chicken, clean the chicken coop.
Yeah.
You had to clean out this shit. Like, you were part of the process. You were I think you were so much smarter. I just hate that can't believe I was so stupid about it. But it's like the luxury, I guess in the West, it's like the luxury of being ignorant to that stuff and not having to partake in that part of the dirty part of.
Yeah. And I think that disconnect, that luxury is kind of probably the first level of classism. If it not even between people, but just between people and animals, assuming that we're better and that.
And also
they're just-
disconnect. First of all, disconnect from God. Even from like the fact that how things are, how you don't know how things are created, like how the way how stuff happens. You don't. Because then you don't even know. Like I feel like you're never going to get to God if you can't even understand how a chicken gets to your plate.
Like maybe if we understood that it's all God, maybe like that cow there that you're about to eat, that's Jesus. Like if you want to put it into some kind of personification, right? And maybe we'd have a little more reverence for it. But, you know, I think the disconnect from nature is a disconnect from God. And it's like now we're trying to reconnect with God, which is, you know, a big spiritual movement now, which I still feel is kind of layered with marketing and a lot of like more identity and like trying to be part of the crowd, where I feel like
that's very human. I feel like that's just the humanity part of it. I think it's hard to avoid that. I think, but because it's just, that's my observation, is that everything kind of, at least in the West, turns to be like a fad. Yeah, has that fatty vibe to it. Gets to be like that. I don't know. It's that the in thing. Then let's do it. Like it's.
Yeah, and I think too that comes from our lack of a community, because we're desperately seeking community. And so we're trying to figure out how to fit in. So when somebody dresses someone you like, you're like, yeah, that's the tribe I want to be part of. And so you dress like them and you talk like them. But I think what the spiritual teachers, like I take a lot of my wisdom from the Tao, and, you know, it's really about raising our level of awareness and consciousness, like being able to even observe the fact that there's a tendency to want to fit in with the group. I think a lot of people operate unconsciously, and perhaps when we're raising our consciousness, that's kind of us getting a little closer to God, because, you know, if God is able to look through all of life around us, then by us practicing that self-awareness, we are practicing being godlike.
Absolutely, because you get awareness means kind of to see stuff, right? And what does God do but I think see? It's the all.
Yeah,
God's he's the all-seeing eye, like the OG all-seeing eye, not the
he's
not the iPhone eye, not the eye products now. But
he's in the theater with popcorn, just being like, "Show me
all
what
day
you got."
Long, all day long. Like, I mean, you got like 10 eyes.
How much time I got? Oh, infinite time.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I really feel like even the disconnect from the food, like you disconnect from God, like you disconnect from yourself, and that's why you're searching. Like you don't even realize how you are connected. Like you're eating, you are part of this great, whatever this great I am that is what we are all the time. But you can, it boggles my mind that we can be so easily distracted from what is so in our face, like so right in front of us.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay, so we have moved.
So moving on. We're
halfway through. Okay, so the question we got about God. Okay, then the reality.
What is the reality of it? What is the reality?
Well, I think we've been talking about that. Reality is how people are disconnected from God and don't even think about God.
Yeah. So let's look at it. Like I'm a very practical person. I try to get to the meat and bones of it. But yeah. So I guess maybe more the practical nature of like, how does God affect our lives? Maybe how does believing or not believing in God affect the reality around us? And I find that there's so many people that are so sure of themselves, you know, like, well, I read this book and this is what God is. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I feel like none of us will ever be sure, but yet we form entire not industry, but institutions around a belief that may or may not be true.
I think there's certain human tendencies, right? And I think one of them is that humans generally don't like to be living in uncertainty. People like to think like this is how it is, and that this is right. Like the whole right and right, black and white. Some people, I think most people like to have this idea that this is right and this is wrong. And this is how we should do it. But no, the reality is we just end up we're just all on a boat, and some people just decided this is how it is. It's not 100% sure.
The should part I find interesting when people say, because God must be this based on their belief, They're going to now tell us how we need to live our lives based on their understanding of God. And I find that fascinating too. And this is also why I gravitate towards like Buddhism, because Buddha, he doesn't quite tell you exactly how to be, but he says right action, right speech, right movement, right thought. But it's like, okay, well, what is right? That's a question only you can answer for yourself. And I feel like that is part of the process. But like you said, people want this certainty. Like, just tell me how to do it. Just
I
show me the
wanted
instruction
certainty when
manual.
I was in the Vipassana. I was like, what is that? Please tell me what am I supposed to do with this? I got this feeling. What does that mean? She's like, what do you mean? What does it mean to you? I don't know what it means to me. I want you to tell me what it means. He's like, I can't tell you. I'm like, what do you mean you can't tell me? Why are you a teacher? It's like, what kind of teacher are you if you can't answer my question? Don't you know answering a question with a question is not answering a fucking thing? I was so mad. Tell me what it means. Why is this happening? What do you feel like? She's just like, what do you feel like? Are you learning anything from it? I don't even know what's happening. I'm just confused. I'm totally confused.
And that's the irony of it too, I find. It's like as we want our questions answered, we only really get more questions. But it's not about the answer, because if it was just the answer, then we would literally become robots. Oh, this is my purpose. Beep, bop, boop. This is what I do. And there is no discovery anymore. And I think this is what I don't like about our modern world, is it portrays itself as like, oh, we got it all figured out. We've searched the globe, right? It's all contained. All of the parts the deepest depths of the ocean and the highest mountains and all the forests. It's like, no, we haven't. There's more to explore, and not even just externally, but like internally.
Oh, the internal,
right?
I think the internal field that we are so guided away from with Western culture, especially, is actually so deep. I think this just from my Vipassana experiences, I feel that alone, I feel like, dude, I think there is so much I don't know, and it's almost like this time I really when I just came back, right, and I really, one thing I stuck in my head at one point during the 3 days was, the path is indeed very long, but it is a good path. It is a good path. Interesting and difficult, rewarding, long.
And that's a question too. How do you define good? What is good? And I find
good for me. Yeah, I think, I don't know, good for everybody. But actually, at one point, I thought like I had this image that the path is long in a way, but in another way, it's not actually long, because I had this image that what you seek is really kind of right in front of me, but there are so many kind of straps, ropes, veils that are covering, and that I, in a way, I am also kind of holding all these. Everything that's confining me is actually me. Like, I have kind of been built in a way that I'm the one confining myself, but I don't even know how to let go, because even the process, and it's almost like the process, well, for me, for sure, the process of letting go of my own kind of constraints that are preventing me from reaching that is very painful. However, it is liberating.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. That was my thing. And
so how does, I guess the question for you is like, how does your relationship with God affect your life?
Lately I have decided that life is right.
Life is right?
Life is right. And God is right. God, like, if there's a God, and I truly believe there's some creative source, like, because I don't know me. Like, I don't understand how my body does all this stuff. How is it my body? I don't know half of the shit that's going on in my body. And I am 45, and still I can be like, should I eat this or should I eat that? Like, by 45, should I know shit? Like, why? It's always evolving, but I really feel that it's I feel so in wonder of my body sometimes. When I really think about the human body, even especially after having a baby and seeing my daughter grow, and then knowing that every human was a baby, it is miraculous.
Mm-hmm.
It is well beyond my intelligence, and I am a human, and it's phenomenal to me, the process, and I feel like it's got something. So for me, it's like God exists. Okay, now God, this creator source thing, makes these amazing beings. I think cats are amazing animals, plants. I love plants. So it can't be that wrong. So now I just have to have faith that things are good, and I want to live that God. Like, tough times aren't bad. I've lived tough times, and I know I've learned and grown from them, and I know it's not pure evil. The tough times, it is a game of sorts. So try to act with faith and look. In a lot of it, I really feel a lot of it is perspective. You think you know that was a terrible, horrible incident, but did you grow from it? Like, or for somebody else, I mean, and things were bad for me, like, especially my health issues that I've had. I feel like that was so hard. I was so upset. Like, I still was so upset, but I really feel that I learned so much. And what is my ultimate desire in life? Really, to know the truth. I choose that, and I didn't specify the path. Now I'm going to try to specify it a bit more. Be like, I don't want such drastic shit anymore. Like, I want an easier path to the truth. I don't want the express lane through pain.
I don't even know if we get the opportunity to choose that necessarily.
I don't know, but I like to believe I can choose. I'd like to believe that. I don't know, but I feel I didn't know that I asked that. I feel that I'm just trying to make it better. So right now I feel that God exists, and that you can change your attitude towards things. If you have to do some work to change your perspective on things, to maybe see that it's not as terrible as.
Yeah. I'm kind of I'm leaning a little more towards the Gnostic way of seeing the world. And I'm not like an expert on this, but my loose understanding of it is that they believe this world is kind of controlled by these archons. And this is where we get monarch or patriarch. The arch is the ruling class, this structure that oversees everything, right? And they believe that this world is actually kind of run by, like, for lack of a better term, the devil. And I'm kind of leaning towards that. However, it doesn't mean I don't believe that there is goodness.
Why do you think the devil is called Lucifer?
The light bringer, right? And so here's what's interesting.
The dark
brings enlightenment, because although I am learning, there's this like perhaps things are being twisted in a way, because that is kind of the inversion process that the devil does. Because the story of Lucifer is similar to that of the story of Prometheus. Are you aware of that in Greek mythology?
Not so well, but a little.
So Prometheus is like a titan who brought fire to humanity, basically the ability to craft and make things and become almost godlike. And it was like, no. Zeus, the lord of all the gods, is like, we can't have people knowing all this stuff, so I'm going to punish you for going behind my back. And so he chains Prometheus to a rock and has this eagle pick at his liver, and it keeps regrowing. And like, I don't know all the nuances to like perhaps the metaphor. This is weird. But anyways, I think a lot of these things are mostly stories that we use to grasp our way of looking at the world. Because I think in these times too, they're trying to figure shit out. Like, these Greeks, they're great thinkers. They created a society that afforded them the luxury to actually ask bigger questions. And so anyways, I feel like this world is more like a school, but a school of hard knocks. Like, it's like, oh, when you come here, you're in for some shit. And it's like entering a carnival, and there's just this chaos. And I think part of the process is for us to discover what goodness is. And I think there's some truth to, if everyone was pure good, we wouldn't really recognize it, because we're literally swimming in it. And we're just like, oh, this is good. It just is. And then it's almost, I wonder if we're like an experiment.
Oh, it feels so much like a little bit. I mean,
it's kind of like
something's up.
Plop these people in this really messed up world and see if goodness prevails. See if there are people who, despite the suffering, despite the hardships, they choose to do good. They choose to love, and that like they don't go into temptation, but some people do. And that perhaps this is that training ground of maybe our souls are intended to evolve, but maybe there's a layer of, well, we can't give you godlike powers until you truly understand the power that you have. And so we come into this earth with limitation. And given the limitations, our character is truly tested. Because if we came into this world like, oh, Bing, I have a thought, I want this thing, Bing, I think this world would be just hella chaos if we were immature. And this is kind of the way I look at children. When I see the way they kind of grow up, and there's times where a kid will just be violent and like, no, my toy, and like, and then as a parent, you're like, whoa, 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 like you can't do that. But I feel like if there's ever a time to experience that, it's as a weak little child who can't actually do damage.
Right.
But the scary part is when I look at the world now, I see a bunch of overgrown children dropping bombs on people and hurting people because they haven't matured. And I think that maybe this is the reincarnation cycle that Buddha talks about. It's like, if we want to get out of the wheel of samsara, perhaps we need to evolve ourselves. We haven't proven that we're worthy of being gods. You know, the story of Hercules, like he's this demigod who has all these powers, but he has to go through these trials and he's tested. And
the school idea is very common, right? Like even in a game, people want to entertain themselves. They play video games, and there's always levels, right? You have to pass a level to get to the end. So I think that seems very realistic as to what we live here. So for some reason, God put us here. Maybe there's a God trying to know what God is, so you start with kind of stupid people, and you really appreciate every level of knowledge. You gaining every ability is an appreciation. Like you gain that, God gains that appreciation.
Yeah, or like we can also have some empathy in the same way we have empathy for children. Like we know the kids are just learning and growing, and they're going to make mistakes, and we don't. Or at least we try not to. I hope you're not shaming your kids, but, but like there's a general, at least from what I've seen and observed, it's like, okay, yeah, kid, he fumbles or, make mistakes, but they're growing. And then there's an appreciation that when you get older, it's like, I used to be like that. I used to be a stupid little kid that didn't know where meat came from, right? But now you have greater awareness. You're a little closer to the truth. And, so I guess this world is almost like us climbing our way out of ignorance.
Yeah, I think it is, and I feel like it's as in like in school when you learn, you kind of appreciate your growth too, because I was someone who just thought meat just appeared in the grocery store in the back, and now I know so much more than that. I'm so glad I've come out. I really appreciate that I've learned this, and I thought a bit sooner would have been better, but it's okay. So, yeah, I don't know what else to think then. Like it seems very fitting. Of course, I could be wrong. One thing I do feel like is people don't understand the fallibility issues of humans. People like to live thinking they are certainty, and but everything's, when you're human, it's so infallible. We're all mistake prone, possible to make mistakes. And like God is the infallible. That's what I just feel like. God somehow is always the person who doesn't make mistake. That's that old school of thought that I like to. Oh, the reason I think about this that has come to mind is that through mushroom experience, and I think the ayahuasca.
Yeah, everything is
like
perfect.
Everything is perfect. In fact, like you don't know what. You just see this. Like as a human, I just see this layer. Like that mushroom experience where I was telling you over and over, like, man,
and the cow confirmed it. The moo.
Cue
the moo.
Cue the moo. Like the extent of actual magnificence that this realm is, we don't have in general the luxury of appreciating.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking of, the theme of stories. And it's like, if I were to judge, say, a movie by just the one really horrible part, but I don't understand the full spectrum of the movie, then yeah, I guess I can see it as, because like near the end of my fast, I was getting angry with God. I was like, fuck you. Why do you talk to them and how come you don't talk to me? You know what I mean? How come those people get a life of luxury and I got to struggle? And
I think you need to spend time with people who have a life of luxury a little more. And like, you don't know how unhappy they are or happy they are in their mind and stuff. A life of luxury. I've only been around not crazy, like not so close, but I people. One thing that I think was such a good thing is that I have some relatives that are were in my mind wealthy, and I do not feel like they're happy people. They are not people I want to be. So I think what you see on the outside of luxury is like you should be close to people. Like really, before you ever think somebody has a great life and that they are so lucky, really be close to them and see what their everyday is. And if you could get a glimpse of their mind. I don't know if they're.
But I also think like what a kind of twisted story is here's everything, and you're gonna be miserable. That sounds like if it just feels like
it's a sad reality.
It's a really. I don't know, like, what's the lesson there? Is like, so you got to teach the rich people to become poor, and you got to teach the poor people to become rich? Like, I don't understand, but like, or, I don't know. It just, I feel like there's, you know what? Perhaps me trying to understand the whole story is maybe not even worth pursuing, because the only story I can really master is my own story.
And it's a great story. I feel like you think you don't have a great story. You are living a great story. Who you're judging yourself like you're not living a great story. You're great.
I guess
you got to remember you have a great story. And a lot of it is presentation, right? Like I'm telling you don't see their full story.
How you present the story.
You need to present your story. Look at your story in a better way, in the best way. Everybody's duty, I think, to themselves should be to tell your story from the most awesomest perspective. Everybody has trials and tribulations. And if you're still standing here today with relatively, whatever, you're functional, you're breathing, you can do Vipassana, you're good. You got a story, worth living, and you're winning it. You're not losing. Don't judge yourself as losing in your game. Your path is not, especially when your story's not finished.
Yeah, like I was saying, I'm having this realization as you're saying this. It's like, I'm judging the story before I've finished watching the movie.
You haven't finished. You don't know. And it's the kind of annoying part, but the good part, you don't know, and nobody knows. Like, we're all equal in that nobody knows how much time they got left.
I did.
We've got less than a minute left on the seconds left in this podcast.
No. We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We're doing all right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point. I had this, what I could consider like a godlike experience, where I was laying in bed and I was, getting high on some weed and just kind of alone with my thoughts and just contemplating life. And then it was like, it wasn't like a dialogue, but it was this back and forth of almost like telepathy, maybe I want to call it, where I was getting a response in some way. And I was like brought to tears when the impression I got was that if I knew the full story, I wouldn't do what I'm here to do. I might be too afraid or too this or whatever. So it, like, by keeping me in ignorance, it was actually part of the story. And it was, and it's like, it's coming back a little bit as I'm remembering it.
Well, all the stories, they don't know what's going to happen, right?
So like every story has a character, and you are the hero of your own story. And so like part of it was like, there's this destiny ahead of me, and that I am worthy, and that I'm being tested to see who I become. And that like, I'll understand it when I get there, but until then I have to, and I struggle with this word faith. And it's like, oh my God, like how much more do I have to like endure?
Full faith. Full faith. It's so hard. But I feel like, where did I read this? That it's either fear or faith. You either are living in fear or faith, and what you want, and most people somewhere, I don't know what book, but live a little bit. Sometimes they jump from one to the other.
Yeah.
What you want, full faith, and it is. I tell you, it is so. I feel like this has been a message in my life for the last 5 years, and it's just full faith. It's just I've been trying to be the full faith. This full faith. It is so hard.
But I think what I'm realizing too is, the faith is actually not for me to put out into the universe for this whatever understanding of God. It's actually more of like, no, I need to have faith in myself.
Yes. Right here, faith in this. No matter what comes at me, I am me.
If I'm created by God, then there is a reason, and that I need to have faith that I'm capable of whatever is presented in front of me, whatever obstacle. And perhaps that's what I struggle with. There's a certain level of, I know I'm capable, but then there's this other part like, but am I?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I think that's, we all have that, right? It's like, I feel like I should do that, but really, like, can I do that? I don't know. I've never, do I want to do that? I don't know. I'm scared. What if this happens? What, the what ifs and the, like, we all cycle through that. And if ever, I think we've all gotten through stuff. If you're lived life a little bit, you've gotten through some of these moments, but it's so easy to fall back into the fear and not have the faith to keep just do it. I struggle with this all the time. Like but it's I think when you get better, the more you practice it, it'll be better and better and better. It'll just be easier and easier.
Well, I think this works perfectly in our section here, because I think we already kind of talked about the possibilities of, God and all this. Maybe those two kind of combine. But the last step is the action. And so it sounds like we've landed on the act of having faith.
Mm-hmm. Truly.
And so what does that mean? Well, how do we bring that faith into our lives? What do you do to be more faithful?
I try to speak and think in ways that are like that exhibit faith, that are trusting and not fearful, like that are, I got this, like just like affirmations. And some I'm a huge fan of Louise Hay, and I did that lots 20 years ago, started, and sometimes I feel like I just resort to stuff. Like even today, I just wrote somewhere in my book, I was like, Anila is happy, Anila smiles, Anila's amazing. I think I just wrote that in my, I think even in this book, just today, just because you need to, I just feel like that's what I need to do. Like your faith is, my faith is guiding me which way I'm going to kind of go. I'm going to fall in, like, go in positive thinking, things are going to go well attitude, or the fearful, like, let's take the kind of cowardly path or whatever. Like, kind of, and I just, like, even sometimes, my daughter, I only have her half the time, and I really did not like that I only had her half the time. I really liked being a mom, and I wanted her to have the whole time, and it was such a hard thing for me during my separation. And so sometimes that's one easy thing for me to do, is be like, oh, something's wrong with her, like, and I don't know, and like I could just go crazy. I was like, no. So the idea is, no, you're in control. You're having faith. Like, it is, stuff has worked out. Things have happened for the good and the better, and that's it. She's fine. If there's a problem, I'll know in time for anything. So just, it's really, I feel like it's a training process that I've been going through to just live in the full faith, and it's still not easy. I still feel like every day, I kind of feel like that's why people pray to get up. I think I'm a fan of some of these customs to every day pray, every day be like, pray to the God kind of thing. Yeah. Why? Because you feel, you wake up and you kind of realize your mortality, and I was sleeping and conked out to the world, and I was very vulnerable, and now I'm waking up and I don't know what the hell is going to happen today. But if you pray to something, but even just have faith, I think that self-faith, like pray to God, or just channel it, like be like, this is it.
I guess, yeah, even if you don't have faith in yourself, having faith in God by proxy gives faith to you, because it's like, well, I'm connected to God.
Connected.
And if God has a purpose for me, then if I believe in God, then therefore I believe in myself. And yeah, I definitely agree that, having these customs in our lives, even if they get lost in obscurity to why we do them, because that was one part of the Tao that really stuck with me was, if you lose sight of the Tao, fall back to virtue. If you lose sight of virtue, fall back to religion. If you lose sight of religion, fall back to tradition. And the idea is that like, even though we've forgotten why we do what we do, by maintaining the tradition, you're still embodying the practice. So even if you don't know why you're praying and having faith, you're still in that spirit of doing and being and like the affirmations. And I think that's beneficial because that will still lead you down a good path.
A little like fake it till you make it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. And I struggle with that too, where I'm just like, what do you mean fake it? Like, I can't, I'm going to be authentic. I hate this shit.
But if you, it is, there's a thing like we are programmed. We have some psychology that is kind of set to an extent, physiology that's set. And I think these traditions that people have are at least like a base that at least keeps you baseline movement, and then you can augment as per you can up the game. You can up your level if you so choose. If you feel called, if it's your destiny, I don't know. But just I feel like some of the base is just the base to keep you going. And they just come to be for good reason. I think people have struggled for eons. Like, I mean, nobody knows why we're here. Like, nobody can really answer that question. We can just guess. I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm good with what I have right now. In 10 years, I'm sure my ideas will be different about it.
And maybe just being okay with the not knowing, and it's more life is like a discovery, and we're learning and growing and changing, and you know, everyone wants the meaning of life, and then the guru just asks you another question and you're like, F off. But I think we give it meaning, and that meaning sometimes changes. So like at one stage of my life, this is the meaning I gave it. Then new information comes my way and I'm like, oh, I think I'm changing the way I'm going to do my life now. And I think that's perhaps the beauty of humans in particular, I think, in that we are, I think, the closest to God in the animal kingdom, in that like, it's very unclear as our purpose. Whereas like if I was a cat or a deer or a dog, like it's kind of obvious. It's like dog's like, well, I can run really fast, so I'm going to just run. And I got these fangs, so I guess I'm going to hunt. And like, they don't question themselves. I feel like animals don't have the insecurities that humans do. And I think the reason we have it is like with unlimited potential also fosters like anxiety. And I noticed that in my own life, like where, you know, people will say like, oh, you're talented, you can do this and that. And I go, I know. And that to me, I kind of wish I just had one talent that I was like, yeah, that's it. Whereas I have a kind of a diverse range of skills, and by having all these options, I kind of stagnate. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I have this and this, and there's a part of me that wants to wrap it all together. But I feel like I am reaching that point now where I'm like, oh, maybe I was supposed to learn this and learn that and learn this and learn that, because it's allowed me to have the technical skills to put this together. It's given me the artistic ability to look at beauty and then get more into film and understanding storytelling. And then there's this aspect of me learning how to speak and sing and manage my voice. So it's like, I feel like I'm slowly like wrapping it all together into this like presentation of who I am.
Masterpiece that's coming together. Absolutely. I really think you will. I feel more in my life that I can look at some things, even my own life. I feel like similarly, I've learned different things. I've had such weird or such kind of interesting to me, different experiences, and I've learned different things, but I feel like, oh, it's come together. Like, I feel like, oh, I see that there's a potential here for certain things. And maybe that's why I had these kind of, this desire. Like, why did I do that? Some certain things, I'm like, I don't know why I did that, but I did that. And I just did it. And I don't know why. But now I feel that, oh, the reason I can do this now, which I like a lot, is because I did that thing, which just was kind of whimsical, you know, at that moment. And I think I can see in other people as well, that I know a bit more. I see, oh, that's amazing. Like their story, how I know, like my brother in particular, they're like, oh, see this happened, that happened. And look what's come. That's kind of a miracle. And I think I love stories, and I want to help people's stories get out there, promote people's stories, because I think actually everybody's story is kind of miraculous. If you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can do numbers on it, on the odds of everybody's life being as they are, it's amazing. And I think you'll find God in that. Like, it is amazing. And I have been asking about how people have had, at least in India, I got the impression that a lot of them in the religion, they're very devoted. They have such devotion for God. And I think in the last while, I can see so much more of how God is great. Whatever this realm, like, I don't see all of it, but stuff, like some things I try to see the stories from a long-term perspective, and it is quite amazing. Like my grandmother's story, my aunt's, like even my mom, who's a little crazy, I'm like, it's still kind of amazing. No, it's still amazing. And
what's kind of fascinating is like all the stories that came together that are all part of a larger story, you know. And I think of like the Avengers, and you know, all the different superheroes have their individual stories, but then they come together in these Avenger movies where it's even more epic. And that's essentially what I'm working towards building, is like, all right, well, if this life is a story, then how do we tell that story by combining our stories together?
I think like Panda and Anil, like, let's make it epic.
Yeah.
It's
Why
like
not? We got this life.
Yeah, right. It's like, I feel like at this point, I'm like, oh, I feel like I've done certain things, so it's like, so it becomes more of an epic story, not just a smaller story, which is fine too, not a bad thing. But I feel like, oh, it's a choose. You can still choose. It's not definite. Like the thing is, like, I think the game is a bit kind of fun and maybe terrible, but it's like, oh, you have the option. You have maybe the potential. You can see the potential, but is it going to happen? Until it happens, you don't know.
I'm kind of thinking like, from time to time, I've just browsed through, you know, what movies are playing in the theater, and I'm going like, oh yeah, look at all the variety of shows, and you know, you go onto your Netflix or whatever streaming platform, and yeah, there's a story for everyone, really, right? Some are epic. You got your Lord of the Rings and your Dune saga or whatever, Star Wars, and then you got just humble movies that are just about human connection. And like, we watched this movie, what was it, the 100-Foot Hotel or 100-Foot Restaurant or something, about this Indian family that they suffered some stuff back home, and they were trying to find their new place, and they go to Europe, and they end up in France, and their car breaks down.
Oh, I think I've seen this. Yeah. I forget what it's called. Yes. And he ends up being like a 5-star chef, or a Michelin chef. And
it was just, and you know, right at the beginning, you know, he says like, oh, maybe the brakes
break for a reason.
And it was like, oh, and it all came together, and it was just, yeah, it was beautiful. And
that's it. I feel like life is a lot of that. I think there are some crazy stories, right? I told you about my restaurant in Saratoga Springs. I went and got free food.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that came from my grandmother donating, giving, sending back money, like, for 20 years. You know, it's so weird. Like, it's a cool story.
Yeah.
I think God loves cool stories. I like cool stories. I don't know. And I think sometimes I feel like if we bond, if there's something God and I have in common, is that we like cool stories.
Yeah, I don't think God's bored, is what I'll say.
Exactly.
We definitely make life entertaining for God. He's probably like, those crazy humans.
Exactly, right? It's true. I think yeah, really, it's that we are crazy, but it's kind of great.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that's an hour and
a bit, which is to be expected, considering we probably could have gone off for hours if allowed to, but
absolutely,
we'll save it for another
the extended version. Once we get popular.
Exactly.
Yeah, and people want the extended version of the God question. Yeah, because there's so much. There's so many theories out there about God, the God trap and stuff. And
yeah, and I think sometimes we get lost in that. And this is why, like, for me, I'm such a practical person, but like, okay, well, how does this affect my life or our lives? And because I want to have like an impact on the world, you know, and I want to have, and not just to have an impact, but it's like, I guess I want to give my life meaning. Instead of reacting to the world, I want to be like a creator in the world. I want to say, there's this thing I want to create. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I have a vision. And if I've known anything about my life, anytime I have a plan, it never goes the way I want it to. but I think, we're capable of adapting and
Have
figuring
faith.
it
You
out.
can adapt. I think like we learn. You have a vision with the knowledge you have at this moment, and then you just take a step, and then you've learned more. So now your vision is going to alter a little bit because you learned a little more.
And then my perspective changes because as I climb different
Mm-hmm.
portions, it's like, oh, I see more now. I thought I was going this way, but now it looks like I want to go a little bit this way.
Exactly. So it's okay, but it is have a vision and take this. At least take one step, and then reevaluate. Oh, another step, same way, or no, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, whatever. Yeah. And it's like the game, but I feel like the system, our culture kind of gets us out of that enjoyment, that kind of fun of the game of you take one step and you don't know. You be like, I'm going for the target over there. I think I go this way, right? And you might end up being like, oh my God, we're going 100 feet down first. What the hell? I'm trying to get there. Like, how am I end up? But it's like the fun. I feel like I'm trying to get back. I think when I was living my best, like some of my best life is when I would do like, okay, well, one step and let's see what happens. I kind of would get excited. Okay, I did the one. What's next? I think if you live when you live a little bit comfortably with the uncertainty, but you make some move. You're like, I'm making my one move. Now what? Like when I say last, I'm like, God, you're a move God. Like you're moving the universe. What's next?
I feel like you got this like edge to you where I'm picturing you playing chess with God, and it's like, what next? Bring it.
Yeah. I feel like you need to have a little bit of this. Like, and sometimes I feel like I have a lot more than I think other people, and I don't know why exactly I have that. But it's like I always could, like I always, even at my, whatever I feel like I would get down, but I could sit and think and be like, and you know what, I don't give a shit. Like I'd be like, I'm gonna do that now, like because you did this, I'm gonna like I wouldn't really just get fully down. I get sad and stuff, but I will be like, I will always be like, and I'm now gonna do this. What's your next move? Like you did that, I'm gonna do this. Like you thought you don't have me down. Like I just. But I did lose that for a while, I feel like, or just got more subdued.
Now I'm reminded of this song. Maybe this will be the outro. It's like, can't nobody
hold me down.
Right? How does the words go?
You got to keep on
moving.
Ain't nobody
hurt my pride. Can't nobody hold me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, that's a wrap.
All right. Have faith and
God is great.
God is great.
Maybe. I mean, if you want to think so. I could be wrong. I am not God. Not yet. That was in my which some point my 3-day. It was during one of the most painful parts of my Vipassana. And I was like, you're temporary. And I remember saying that you rise, like everything. You rise into existence and you fall away. That is the Vipassana code, whatever. That is. And I just was repeating that. I felt like I was yelling that in my head, like to tell myself, like, this is the truth of this, whatever. And something was like, Anila is God. I don't know. I'm just like, what? What do you mean? I really don't feel like God. but yeah, there's that part of the book that says something like everybody has like the spark of God, or God is in everybody, but everyone's not God. Oh, I forget the way it goes.
Yeah, I'm reminded of these Final Fantasy games I would play, and a common theme was like, there's this great crystal, but then it shatters. And we're all like these little shards of the great. And there's the people who are part of that crystal are kind of part of this like soul group, and they're destined to come and fight the evil together. But like only when they're combined are they, they're the power of God. And now I'm thinking of Captain Planet, you bring the kids together and they're like, yeah, go planet. And then you got this guy with superpowers, right?
The Avengers together.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe I think that's the strength of humanity. It's kind of like we are fragments of God, but if we came together, we could be godlike as a group. And
nothing felt like that more than the convoy. I felt like that was.
Oh yeah,
that was so awesome.
Well, I think just this whole world we live in is proof of what we're capable of. Like, for us to live kind of the luxury that we have,
True.
to not know where our meat comes from, requires this massive level of cooperation. That
True that, eh? Like,
right?
it is.
And I feel like this idea of the self-made millionaire or whoever is such a fallacy, that like nothing we've ever done in this world was purely by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even me as an artist, I didn't make the paper or the paintbrush or the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody made that and allowed me to wield it and do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the more we recognize and pay our respects and gratitude to the different pieces that made this all possible, just like the body, like I'm not aware that my kidneys are working 24/7, cleaning my blood, and you know,
until they don't work, then you
work.
Become aware, and you have to go to dialysis, which is zero fun.
Exactly. So, like, gratitude, faith and gratitude. I think
gratitude is the attitude to have. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Faith and gratitude. I like it.
Okay. So maybe, what's the next?
Oh yes, the next
question we want for the next podcast. I think I want to go maybe because we really got into story. I don't know what makes a good story. That's a good question.
What makes a great story? Humor. If you want a comedy.
Now I'm trying to think of like a structure of maybe like recognizing that there's somebody on the other end listening to this. I kind of forget that sometimes. And maybe this is something over time we can invite people to add their input.
Oh, absolutely. Right? I think it's great to have. I think really conversations about topics that are kind of wide-ended, like open-ended, I guess, is but like smart conversations about it, not and just really open about it is I think a thing that's lacking in society. I think people just used to talk about random stuff much more than we do now with each other because they didn't have TV and whatever to. They used to have each other to communicate and figure out and just be simple with.
So I guess when we get this on YouTube or whatever platform, in the comments section, you know, you can, in this particular case, it's what is God. So tell us what you think is God. And then for the next one is what makes a great story. And, yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah. I think that's good.
That's good.
All right.
Start.
Good job.
Right.
Good job, everybody.
Good job.
Thanks
you for listening.
And
write us a comment.
Yeah. You know, write a comment, share your thoughts, ideas on what we had to say, add your input, add to the story.
Yeah. Maybe we can make like a page where people talk about their, how about chat group form afterwards? I don't know. But anyway,
it'll evolve.
It'll evolve. We'll see how.
We'll see.
I think I like this God topic. God.